No human was ever meant to stand in the Hall of Stars. That was what the galaxy believed. The Hall of Stars was the highest place of honor in the Galactic Union. It was built above a living world, floating in the sky like a crown of light. Kings, queens, warriors, and legends had stood there. Humans had only been spoken about in warnings or footnotes, but today a human stood alone at its center. His name was Ethan Cole. He did not wear armor or royal clothes. He wore a simple uniform, patched and faded from years of work. His hands were rough, scarred by tools and fire. His heart beat fast, not with pride, but with confusion. He did not understand why he was here. Ethan had been a mechanic on a small human supply ship. His job was simple: fix engines, follow orders, and survive long enough to go home. He was not trained for battle. He was not special, at least. That was what he believed. The memory still burned inside him. The pirate attack had come without warning. Alien crews froze, trapped by rules and fear. Their ships were advanced, their weapons powerful. But no one acted without command. Ethan had not waited. When the alarms screamed and the hull cracked, he ran. He ignored rank, ignored fear. He reached a manual. Cannon controls old systems no alien liked to touch. His hands shook, but he fired again and again. He fought until his arms burned and his lungs screamed. He fought until help arrived. When the battle ended, the convoy still lived. 4,000 lives, because one human refused to stand still. Now, weeks later, Ethan stood beneath a sky of glowing violet light. Thousands of alien eyes watched him. Some looked curious. Some looked afraid. Some looked angry. At the far end of the hall sat the crystal throne. Upon it sat Princess Salith of Erelis. She was not loud or shining like other royals. Her power was quiet, deep, and steady. Her silver eyes studied Ethan carefully, as if she were reading something written inside his soul. When she looked at him, Ethan felt small, but also seen. A tall alien stepped forward. The High Speaker of the Union, Ethan Cole of Earth, the speaker said, voice echoing through the hall. You acted without permission. The crowd murmured. You disobeyed command structure. The speaker continued. You endangered yourself and others. Ethan lowered his head. Yes, silence fell. And because of that, the speaker said slowly, you saved this convoy. You saved this alliance. You saved lives that would otherwise be lost. The hall erupted into Sanglian applause in 100 strange forms. Ethan's eyes widened. A small object floated toward him. It looked simple, almost unimportant. The starbound prize, the speaker announced, given to those who change fate. When Ethan touched it, warmth spread through his hand. The object pulsed once, as if alive. Gasps filled the hall. Before Ethan could ask why, Princess Salith stood. The entire hall fell silent. She stepped down from her throne and walked toward him. Each step felt heavy with meaning. When she reached him, she placed her hand over his, closing his fingers around the prize. Her voice was soft. Only he could hear it. You believe this is the reward, she whispered. Ethan looked up, confused. Her eyes held sadness, and hope, and fear far older than him. Tonight, she continued quietly, the real prize awaits in my room. His breath caught, not from desire, from destiny. She stepped back before he could speak. Her royal mask returned. To the galaxy, she said aloud, This human reminds us of what courage truly is. The hall thundered with approval, but Ethan barely heard it. The prize in his hand pulsed again, and somewhere deep within the palace, something ancient had awakened, something that had waited a very long time for a human brave enough to stand alone. Palace of Erelus was silent at night, not empty, never empty, but quiet, in a way that felt alive. The walls glowed softly, changing color with the emotions of those who walked through them. Ethan Cole followed a floating guide light down a long corridor, his footsteps slow and uncertain. The ceremony was over. The cheers were gone now. Only the weight of the princess's words remained. Tonight, the real prize awaits in my room. Ethan did not understand what that meant. Not fully, but he felt it in his chest, heavy and warm at the same time. The star-bound prize rested in his pocket, pulsing softly, as if reminding him that this was not a dream. 2 royal guards stood before a tall door grown from crystal and living stone. They did not block his path. They simply bowed and stepped aside. The door opened on its own inside. The room was not what Ethan expected. There were no treasures, no luxury, no signs of celebration. Instead, the room felt old, ancient. The walls were covered in symbols that moved slowly, like breathing stars. In the center stood a circular platform made of light. Princess Salith waited there. She was no longer wearing her royal robes. Instead, she wore simple clothing, calm and modest, as if she wished to appear less like a ruler and more like a person. "You came," she said gently. "I was told to." Ethan replied honestly. A small smile touched her lips, but it did not reach her eyes. "Yes, that is often how fate works." She gestured for him to step closer. He did, his heart racing. "You believe I invited you for reward," she continued. "But humans misunderstand our word for prize." Ethan frowned. "Then, what is it?" Salith raised her hand. The air shimmered, and the star-bound prize lifted from Ethan's pocket, floating between them. "That device is not a gift," she said. "It is a key." The room changed. The symbols on the walls brightened. The platform beneath them glowed stronger. Ethan felt pressure, like the air itself was watching him. "This world," Salith said, "was built on an ancient promise. Long ago, the galaxy nearly destroyed itself. Power without courage, rules without heart." She looked at him directly. "We survived because one species stood when all others froze." Ethan swallowed. "Humans?" She nodded. "But history forgot them. The galaxy moved on, became careful, became afraid." Her voice softened. "Until you." Ethan shook his head. "I didn't plan anything. I just acted. That," she said quietly, "is why it chose you." The platform responded, light rising around Ethan's feet. Images filled the air wars, councils arguing while people died, fleets waiting for permission that never came. The starbound system, Salith explained, was designed to awaken only for one who acts not for glory, but for others. Ethan's chest tightened. "So why me? Why now?" Her eyes darkened. "Because the galaxy is close to breaking again." She turned away, her shoulders heavy. "The Union fears change. They fear humans. They fear what courage without permission can do." She faced him once more. "They will try to control you, or silence you." Ethan felt anger rise. "Then why bring me here at all?" "Because I cannot stop what is coming," she said. but I can choose who stands at the center of it. The light around Ethan faded. The room returned to normal. Salith stepped back, giving him space. The real prize is not this room. It is truth, responsibility, and a path that will cost you comfort. Ethan took a long breath. I didn't come to the stars to change the galaxy, he said. She nodded. None of the right ones ever do. Silence stretched between them. Finally, she bowed not as a princess, but as an equal. Rest tonight, she said. Tomorrow, the galaxy will start asking you to be something more. Ethan left the room with his mind burning and his heart heavy. Behind him, Princess Salith watched the door close and whispered to the stars, "Please, let humanity be ready." The next morning, the sun, or what humans would have called the sun, rose slowly over Aerolis. Its light was soft and silver, spilling across the palace like liquid metal. Ethan Cole awoke in a guest chamber provided for him. It was large, but not luxurious. The walls shimmered with the same living crystal that filled the palace, and the air vibrated with quiet energy. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the star-bound prize still resting on a pedestal by the window. Its soft pulse mirrored the beat of his own heart. Yesterday's events felt like a dream, yet the warm weight of destiny pressed on him like armor he did not want to wear. Ethan dressed quickly and left the room. The palace was alive with movement. Soldiers marched in synchronized patterns. Scientists and diplomats debated quietly in clusters. But when they saw him, whispers spread. Conversations stopped. Heads turned. Eyes, alien in every form, watched him not with curiosity but with caution. Fear, even. Fear of a human. It was a feeling Ethan had never experienced before. On Earth, humans were cautious of aliens, but never this. Here, he was something unfamiliar. A being without history, yet with the power to change everything. He felt the weight of that responsibility more keenly than ever. Princess Salith met him in the grand hall. She looked tired, though her posture remained perfect. Her silver eyes were still piercing, still measuring him. Ethan approached carefully. "You slept," she said softly. "Good, you will need strength." "I don't know what strength is needed," Ethan admitted. "I'm just me, exactly," she replied. "And that is why they fear you." Ethan frowned. "Fear me, why?" "Because courage is unpredictable. Because action without permission is dangerous. And because the human species has a way of acting that no one else in the galaxy can understand. They see you as a threat, not a savior." He swallowed hard. It was strange to hear fear of himself. Yet he also felt a spark, something he had never felt before. Power. Not arrogance. Not pride. But the quiet knowledge that the galaxy could rely on him, even if it did not yet trust him. Salith gestured for him to follow. They walked through corridors lined with living crystal, and she explained the day's plans. "You will meet the council," she said. "They will question you, test you, try to limit your influence." "You must stand firm," Ethan nodded. "I will try." "Do not try," she said, stopping him. "Do humans hesitate too little and too much at the same time? Balance will come from your choices, not from their rules." He listened, absorbing each word. Then they arrived at a chamber of mirrors, though the reflections did not show mere images. They showed intentions, thoughts, fears. The council awaited inside leaders from every corner of the galaxy, beings whose species had once fought each other to extinction, and now, All of them were about to witness a human who had survived what none of them could. The doors opened, and silence fell immediately. Ethan stepped in. His hand brushed the starbound prize, which had followed him, floating just above the floor. The leader's eyes widened. Some leaned forward, curious. Some drew back, wary. He felt their judgment in waves, heavy and cold. The council's spokesperson, a tall serpentine being with eyes that glowed like molten gold, spoke first. "Human," the voice hissed, echoing across the chamber. "You have been honored, yet you stand here without training, without history. Why should we trust you with the prize of Errorless?" Ethan swallowed. He looked around the chamber. The words of Princess Saleth echoed in his mind. Do humans hesitate too little and too much at the same time? He took a deep breath. "Because I act," he said. "I do not wait for orders when lives are at stake. I do not follow tradition when people die. I do what must be done. That is why you should trust me." A murmur ran through the council. Some nodded. Some frowned. Others simply stared. Ethan's heart pounded, but he felt an unexpected calm. His actions, simple and human, spoke louder than any words of diplomacy. He realized that humans had a quality the galaxy had forgotten: instinct combined with courage, a willingness to risk everything for others. The serpentine leader leaned back. "You speak boldly, human. Boldness is dangerous." Ethan met its gaze. Danger is the only thing that can save us from stagnation. Silence followed. Then, slowly, Princess Saleth stepped forward. "He has already saved thousands, and he will save more. That is why the galaxy must follow him, whether it understands him or not." The council remained quiet, and Ethan felt the weight of a new understanding. The real challenge was only beginning. They feared him, yes, but that fear meant they had noticed something. Something ancient and powerful in humans. Something the galaxy had almost forgotten. The starbound prize pulsed again, as if agreeing with him. And for the first time, Ethan knew that the path he had stepped onto was not his alone. It belonged to every life that would depend on him. Every world, every species, every soul, and somewhere deep inside the palace, Princess Saleth watched him, her silver eyes calm but proud. She knew the moment the galaxy began to fear a human was the moment humanity's true strength was finally seen. Ethan left the chamber, unaware of the whispers following him, unaware that every corner of the galaxy was beginning to take notice. He only knew one thing: he would never step back from a life that demanded courage. Ethan Cole had barely finished leaving the council chamber when the palace alarm rang a deep, resonating pulse that shook the walls. Princess Saleth's voice echoed in his mind, calm but urgent. "Courage alone will not be enough today," she said. "Follow me." They ran through corridors lined with living crystal, past chambers filled with floating lights and alien scholars who watched silently as if witnessing a legend in motion. Ethan's chest pounded, and every nerve in his body was alert. Finally, they arrived at a large open platform suspended above a canyon of glowing mist. From this height, Ethan could see the city of Errorless stretching below, alive with movement, shimmering towers and floating vehicles. But it wasn't the view that made his stomach tighten, it was the group waiting for him. A squad of alien warriors, each taller than a human, with armor that seemed to pulse with energy, stood ready. Their eyes glimmered like molten metal. Each carried weapons unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. Long, flexible blades that hummed with light, and staffs that could bend reality around them. You must pass the trial of understanding, Princess Salith said, her tone steady but serious. It is not about fighting. It is about reading the galaxy, its choices, its fears, its truths. Humans rarely succeed because humans act without caution. But you may surprise us. Ethan swallowed. How do I start? She gestured to the warriors. They will test you, not your strength, but your decisions. Every choice will reveal what kind of human you are. The first warrior stepped forward, raising a staff that glowed like liquid silver. A wall of light appeared in front of Ethan, showing a scene he could barely understand at first. A planet on the verge of civil war. Cities burning, leaders refusing to listen to reason. You must choose, the warrior said. Who do you save first? Who do you trust? Ethan's mind raced. He could not control the chaos, could not fix everything at once. But he remembered what Princess Salith had said. Act even when the path is unclear. He stepped forward and touched the holographic scene. The children first, he said. The innocent, then the leaders, but only after ensuring the people survive. The light pulsed, judging him, then shifted to a different scene, a fleet on the edge of destruction. Some ships carried civilians. Others carried weapons. The commanders argued, afraid to move. Ethan did not hesitate. Protect the lives first, he whispered. Use the weapons only to defend, not to attack. The warriors watched silently, their expressions unreadable. Every choice Ethan made tested something deep inside him: empathy, logic, courage, and humility. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. Each trial was harder than the last. Some forced him to choose between one life or many. Others forced him to confront lies and deception, to see beyond appearances and understand motives. At one point, Ethan froze. A vision appeared, showing him a moment he had not yet lived. The star-bound prize taken by force, the galaxy falling into chaos because of fear. His chest tightened, and doubt pressed on him like a heavy weight. You doubt, Salith's voice said softly. That is human. That is good. But do not let doubt stop you. Let it guide you. Ethan closed his eyes. He remembered Earth. He remembered the moment he had fired the cannons alone. The moment he had acted without waiting for permission. He realized that courage was not about fearlessness. It was about choosing right even when you were afraid. He opened his eyes and faced the final trial. A vision of himself, standing alone against a vast enemy fleet. The galaxy watching, expecting him to fail. Without thinking, he stepped forward. I do not fight for glory, he said. I fight for life, for hope, for everyone who cannot act for themselves. The light pulsed, then dissipated. The warriors lowered their weapons. Silence fell. The platform shimmered, signaling the end of the trial of understanding. Princess Salith stepped beside him, her silver eyes shining. You have passed the first test, she said, not because you are strong, but because you understand what others forget. Courage alone is nothing. Compassion, clarity, and choice, these are the real prizes. Ethan exhaled, exhausted but proud. He realized something important. The galaxy had begun to notice humans, not because of their strength or technology, but because of their heart, their willingness to act, to take responsibility, and to hope even when all else seemed lost. For the first time, he felt more than fear or confusion. He felt purpose. And somewhere deep inside the palace, Princess Salith watched him, her heart lightened by hope. She had given the human the first reel to stand. He had not only survived it, he had passed it in a way that no other species could. Ethan looked up at the sky, violet and silver, and felt a strange sense of belonging. For the first time, he understood that he was no longer just a mechanic from Earth. He was the first human in a galaxy that had almost forgotten what it meant to truly act. The real journey had only just begun by the evening. The palace of Aerolis was quiet once again. The corridors glowed faintly, reflecting the silver light of the twin moons above. But the calm was only temporary. Beyond the walls of the palace, news of a human passing the trial of understanding had spread faster than any message could travel. Across the Union, whispers turned into murmurs. Murmurs became debate. Debate grew into fear. Ethan Cole walked beside Princess Salith, still holding the starbound prize in his hand. It pulsed softly, warm and steady, a reminder that he had not earned it for glory. He had earned it for courage, for heart, for choices that mattered. "They doubt me," Ethan said quietly, staring at the floor. "The council, the leaders, they don't trust humans, and now I feel like the whole galaxy is watching me." Salith nodded. Her silver eyes were calm, but a shadow passed over her face. "Yes, they fear what they cannot understand. A human does not act like the others. We wait, we measure, we calculate. You act, and that scares them more than any weapon ever could." Ethan's fingers tightened around the prize. "I didn't choose this. I just did what I had to." "That is why you were chosen," she said. "Not because you wanted to lead, not because you sought power, but because you act when others cannot." They walked in silence until they reached a balcony overlooking the city. Below, the Union fleets were assembled. Ships of every shape and size hovered in formation. Flags and banners from 100 worlds rippled in the light of the moons. And everywhere, alien eyes were on him, even those he could not see. "This is only the beginning," Salith said. "The leaders across the Union are already questioning every action you took. They will try to control you. They will test you. They will spread doubt." Ethan swallowed hard. "What if I fail? What if the galaxy doesn't trust me? Or worse, what if they turn against me?" Salith turned to him, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. "Fear is natural, but courage is not the absence of fear, it is acting in spite of it. You do not fight to be liked. You fight to do what is right. That is what makes a human valuable. That is what makes you valuable." He looked at her, trying to absorb her words, and for the first time he understood something simple but profound. The starbound prize was not a reward. It was a responsibility, a challenge, a reminder that being human meant acting when others would hesitate, but doubt still lingered in his mind. The council, the warriors, even the citizens of Aerolis, many would see him as reckless. Others would whisper that a single human could not be trusted. Even with the support of Princess Salith, he felt the weight of the galaxy pressing down on him. "You must rest tonight," Salith said. "Tomorrow you will face the trials outside the palace. Not tests of courage, but tests of wisdom. Every choice will be watched. Every decision will be questioned, and every action could change the fate of entire worlds." Ethan nodded slowly. "I understand, but what if I make the wrong choice?" "Then you learn," she said simply. "Humans learn quickly. That is why you are here. That is why the galaxy has not forgotten you." Ethan's chest felt heavy, but also lighter in a strange way. The fear remained, but it no longer paralyzed him. The responsibility no longer crushed him. Instead, it became a fire, small, steady, and ready to grow. He looked out over the city once more, taking in the fleets, the glowing towers, the endless alien crowds. For a human, the odds seemed impossible. For a human, the path seemed to narrow. And yet, here he was, standing on the edge of history, carrying the weight of lives he had never met. Salith stepped beside him and whispered, "The galaxy fears you not because you are weak, but because you are strong in ways it has forgotten. That fear is a gift. Use it wisely." Ethan closed his eyes and breathed deeply. The starbound prize pulsed in his hand, steady and warm. He knew the real test was just beginning. Not the trial within the palace, not the council, not even the warriors who had tested him earlier. The real trial would be the galaxy itself, its doubts, its fears, its unwillingness to accept that a human could lead, protect, and inspire. And in that moment, Ethan realized something that steadied his heart. The galaxy's fear was proof that humans had power. Not technology, not weapons, not armies, but the power of choice. The power to act when no one else would. He opened his eyes and looked at Princess Salith. "Then I won't step back," he said quietly. "I will do what needs to be done." She smiled, faint but certain. "That is all a human can do, and that is enough." Below them, the city shimmered in silver light. The starbound prize pulsed once more, as if agreeing with him. Somewhere in the distance, across the Union, doubt and fear had begun to stir. Ethan no longer felt afraid of it. He was a human, and humans acted. The next day, the city of Erelis was alive with tension. News of Ethan Cole, the human who had passed the trial of understanding, had spread through the Union faster than any message could travel. Ships from distant worlds hovered at the edge of the atmosphere. Ambassadors and generals moved like shadows, whispering to each other with worry in their voices. Some hoped to control him. Others feared that he could not be controlled. Ethan stood beside Princess Salith on a balcony overlooking the city. The starbound prize floated near him, glowing softly. It seemed to sense the anxiety in the air, pulsing with calm reassurance. He had slept little. His mind replayed every choice, every vision from the trials, and he felt the weight of a galaxy pressing on his shoulders. "This is what I didn't ask for," Ethan said quietly. "I didn't want to lead fleets or make decisions that could cost lives." Salith's silver eyes met his. "No one chooses this. Not truly. Leaders are made by moments, not by desire. You have courage. You have heart. That is why you are here." He nodded slowly, though doubt still lingered. Across the Union, beings from countless worlds were already questioning him. Every action he took would be scrutinized. Every choice could start a war or prevent one. The responsibility was immense. A sudden alarm echoed across the city. Ethan's eyes snapped open. Princess Salith's expression darkened. "The Outer Systems Fleet," she said. "They've declared a blockade. They fear the human and the starbound prize." Ethan swallowed hard. He had trained for engines, not strategy. Yet he realized that the trials had prepared him in ways no classroom could. He had learned to act, to see what others missed, to protect life even in chaos. He could do this. The balcony doors opened, and an alien commander stepped forward. He was massive, his scales shimmering with blue light. Human, he said, in a voice like grinding metal. Your species has no place here. Your presence threatens the balance. The fleet waits orders. You must choose quickly. Ethan looked at the fleet, stretching across the horizon. Thousands of ships, powerful enough to destroy entire worlds. And yet, he felt no fear, not the fear of the fleet, but of making the wrong decision. He remembered Princess Salith's words. Fear is natural. Courage is acting in spite of it. I won't fight unless it is necessary, he said. We will open communications. We will show them that this human does not act for war but to protect life. The commander hesitated. Across the city, the alien leaders watching the fleet murmured. They were unaccustomed to someone refusing a direct threat. Ethan's calm, human determination was strange to them. It unsettled them. Minutes stretched. Then, slowly, the fleet responded. Their weapons did not fire. Instead, transmissions began, flickering in the sky. Ethan's voice, translated by the starbound prize, carried across millions of kilometers. I am a human, he said. I do not seek to destroy. I do not seek power. I act to protect. If your goal is safety, then we can work together. But if your goal is fear, then you will fail. Silence followed his words. The galaxy seemed to pause. Aliens from thousands of worlds whispered to each other. Some had never heard a human speak like this. Some felt fear transform into awe. The outer system's fleet hesitated. And then, one by one, ships lowered weapons. The blockade lifted. Communication lines opened. Messages of negotiation and peace began to flow. Ethan's calm human heart had changed the course of war, not by fire, not by force, but by courage and clarity. Princess Salith stepped beside him, her silver eyes reflecting the glow of the fleet. The galaxy sees now, she said softly. Humans are not just survivors. Humans are hope. Ethan looked down at the starbound prize, its light steady and strong. He understood that the real prize was never recognition or power. It was the chance to act, to protect, and to inspire. His choices had saved more than a single convoy or a single city. They had reminded the galaxy that courage and compassion mattered more than fear and control. The city below erupted in quiet celebration. But Ethan did not feel victory. He felt purpose. A human heart had changed the course of war, and he knew that this was only the beginning. Princess Salith placed a hand on his shoulder. Tomorrow, she whispered, the galaxy will test you again. But today you showed them the strength of a human. Ethan looked up at the violet sky, light flowing across the towers and ships. For the first time, he felt truly seen, not as a mechanic, not as an outsider, but as a human capable of changing the galaxy. And somewhere deep inside the palace, the starbound prize pulsed with agreement, as if acknowledging that humans, small and fragile in appearance, carried a courage that no other species could match. The real journey was far from over. But for the first time, Ethan knew that the human heart could stand against fear, doubt, and war and emerge stronger.